Howdy there, folks, it's Geist, and in today's video we're going to be talking about lightweight bows, and most importantly, how to make a lightweight bow actually feel good. Now, the roll that I'm using in this video is going to be on Tyranny of Heaven, and this bow in particular is very special for a lightweight, and we're going to kind of get into that. And right off the bat, you're probably going to notice something, and that's that my accuracy is really high. It's a 67. And I know that I've made a few videos, including the big bow guide, that are showcasing why exactly accuracy does absolutely nothing. And of course, by the way, I'm flickering through the roll right here just so you can see what it is. I highly recommend this exact roll. So if you need to pause it and see what I'm using, use it. I've got really high accuracy at 67, still manage a draw time of 508, which you absolutely can't notice the difference between 508 and 500, I promise. And a lot of that is due to the tension mod. Now, why is my accuracy so high after I've explicitly told you guys not to worry about accuracy? Well, I kind of tried this on a whim. And this happened because of Steezel. Steezel also uses Tyranny of Heaven quite a bit, like myself, but he swears by it. And one of the reasons that he swears by it is because Tyranny of Heaven is capable of getting some of the highest accuracy. In fact, there are only 4 lightweight bows in the game that are capable of getting above 60 accuracy while still having effectively the fastest draw speed. Now, you're going to have to use the tension mod to get them to around 508, and they're all roughly about what I just showed you. That being said, those 4 bows are Tyranny of Heaven, Tripwire Canary, the new bow, don't ask me what its name, Anemnesis or something, it's kind of hard to pronounce, and then Whistler's Whim. Those are the 4 bows that are capable of breaking above 60 accuracy while still getting really fast draw speeds. Now, this has been tested back and forth between myself and several others. We've tried to see if accuracy makes a real difference. And the fact of the matter is, no matter how much we test it, no matter what we do, we just can't see a difference with any kind of accuracy. Whether it's low, high, whatever, there just isn't something that presents itself in a vacuum when we're trying to test it. And we did a couple more things recently. We even tried to see if maybe it would affect tap fire, like, you know, where you don't draw it, you just kind of press the button and let the arrow just kind of fart out, or half draws, lower than half draws, between half draw and full draw. We've tried everything we can think of, and there's nothing that shows up any tests. So why is my aim so high? Well, it's because Steezel swears by it. He says, yes, the high accuracy really helps. It just feels better. So I just gave it a go. I rolled this here. I tried to get the accuracy as high as possible while still having the draw time as low as possible. And I ended up on a 508 with 67 accuracy. And I don't know if there's a threshold. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe you just have to get your lightweight bow above a certain threshold. And I'm not really sure what that threshold is, but I'm basing this off of precision bows. We all know that precision bows feel fantastic. And it's not just because of their accuracy, because again, accuracy doesn't seem to really do much. But there's something under the hood with them, you know, something with their accuracy cones, things that we just can't see and just can't test, that just make them have better hit registration. And that's why they feel so much better than lightweights to use. That being said, whenever I tried this higher roll, with the higher accuracy and the draw time still decent, it just felt completely different. And I can't really explain it. It took me a few games to really notice the difference with it. But it just felt good. And you're going to notice that in a lot of the gameplay from this match here. This is just something I recorded that was, you know, one of my decent matches with it. This was like maybe 4 or 5 games after I tried the new roll, and it just felt better. I felt like I was landing a lot of headshots. And I don't just mean the first headshot, because as most of you should know, the first headshot on a bow is basically free. It seems to just have incredible hit registration, and that doesn't matter even on lightweights. Even on a lightweight, that first headshot feels fantastic. But then the follow-up shot just absolutely whiffs. It doesn't land. So what felt so unique about this one is, and you'll see it here and there, but I'll land that first headshot, and then another headshot, and then another headshot, and then another headshot, unless I'm explicitly aiming for the body, or if I'm just aiming too fast. And that is definitely one thing to keep in mind. You do have to still be like on point with this. You have to have better aim than any other primary still, because it's still a lightweight bow. But they just feel, it feels so much better with this particular roll. And so I still stand by what I said previously. Accuracy does not matter for most bows. I would say for like 95 to 99% of bows, don't worry about accuracy. But explicitly for the 4 lightweights that I mentioned, Tyranny, Whistler's Whim, Anemnesis, however the heck you pronounce it, and Tripwire Canary. Those 4 bows are able to get above 60 accuracy while still having decent draw speed and other stats. And the reason that I think that roughly 60 is the threshold is just because of the basic stats of precision bows, which feel so good. The precision bows feel really, really good to use, and a lot of them at base, even when you're not building for accuracy whatsoever, they still kind of hover around 60, upper 50s, lower 60s. And so that's kind of why I think that might be the threshold to make it feel a little bit better. I can't say exactly what it is about it. It's not like you're getting more aim assist or even that the arrow is flying straighter, because we even tested this against walls where aim assist wasn't a thing, and it didn't seem like the arrows were necessarily flying straighter. There's just something about it, something under the hood, and I think accuracy does help with the accuracy cone a little bit. But it is exclusively on these 4 bows and exclusively for lightweights that it actually makes a huge difference. I just don't think that it makes any difference whatsoever on precisions, because they just hit great no matter what. And then for most lightweights, it feels like the ones that don't break above 60 just don't really feel that great. And so take what I'm saying kind of with a grain of salt. I could be wrong, and you know, maybe it's just placebo. Maybe I just want to think that it feels better, and so thinking that and feeling that is making me perform better. But at the same time, accuracy has to do something, right? Otherwise, Bungie wouldn't have it in the game. And I know not everything they do is exactly super polished, you know, bugs galore and whatnot, but accuracy has to do something. It's just that whatever the difference is so minuscule that we just can't tell, no matter what we do with bows whenever we test them in a vacuum. That being said, I think that that little bump, whatever it is doing, if it's helping with the cones or whatever the case may be, I think it's just enough to make certain lightweights feel a heck of a lot better and a heck of a lot stickier. And it does excite me a good bit to farm the new bow, just because that one does roll with archers and impulse, which is not a combination that we've ever had on a lightweight bow, and I think it's going to feel absolutely fantastic, especially when you're trying to land those half draws. But that's a whole other conversation. We're going to talk about that thing when it does come out, and I do actually manage to farm a decent roll of it to test that and show that. And another thing I do want to kind of mention, as good as this does feel, a lot of this is definitely due in part just to the hit registration. If Bungie ever, there was that small window right after lightweight bows got buffed to kind of feel a little bit more consistent. And this was right around when bows started to pick up in popularity, and then they got nerfed again shortly after. We all know that time frame. That brief little window, lightweights felt fantastic. And so I think the only thing that needs to happen is I think Bungie needs to revert the AA nerf. But exclusively for lightweights. Not so much for precisions, but more for lightweights, just to help their hit registration, help them feel a heck of a lot better. They should feel really sticky. They should hit headshots really, really well, because at the end of the day, we need 2 headshots in order to actually secure the kill on these things for all resiliences. So I think that's necessary. I think they should definitely revert that. And then at that point, this entire discussion that I'm having right here, all about accuracy on them and trying to make them feel as good as possible, that goes out the window again. You can once again ignore accuracy. I just think that for the time being, certain lightweight bows are able to get the accuracy high enough that that tiny little minuscule difference, whatever the heck it is, just makes them feel better. And again, I could be crazy here, tinfoil hat once more, but they just feel better. So I encourage you guys, especially if you have Tyranny craftable, go and try out this roll. If you have Tripwire craftable, try out a similar roll. Try to get it as close as you can to the one that I showed you earlier, and use the tension mod. You want polymer string, the tension mod, whatever arrow shaft gives you the greatest accuracy. Typically that's fiberglass, but in the case of Tyranny, it only has straight arrow. And then of course pay attention to the stats. But those 4 particular bows, go with one of them. See if you can get that 508 draw time with the high accuracy. Now I will say, I think a bit of it is that it's also enhanceable. So because my Tyranny is enhanced, it does have a little bit lower draw time, so that gives it a boost there. So in that case, like an older Whistler's Whim won't work. So I would say Tyranny is kind of just the go-to here, because you can craft it and you get this good roll. Now Tripwire does also work very well. I'm just not as big of a fan of Tripwire, just because Tyranny does have Snapshot, and Snapshot makes this bow feel great. And on that note, by the way, I did test this with and without Snapshot. I played several games with Incandescent instead of Snapshot, and this still felt fantastic. It still felt way stickier to me. Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know. I know I've been kind of ranting here a while about this, but it's something that I've been wanting to share for a while. And I'm not the only one that's found this. Steezel, Hinra, several other major bow players have tried this out, and they have all sworn that it just feels different. And there's no real way to categorize this, but something about it just feels different. So I encourage you guys to go out and give it a shot. Those of you that are lightweight fans, and just see how it feels. And if you're not really a lightweight fan, well then don't worry about it. Just use a Precision. Precisions are still far more consistent and overall still better bows, so I'm not going to knock you guys for using that. But anyways, I hope you guys found this insightful. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay in the background there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good evening.